Hey gang, it's JC and this is your Daily Dose for Friday, October 22nd, 2010, a cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. You can get us on your mobile phone. Archives, top of the page, Eye Candy Archives. Bottom of the page, Dave's weather forecast and the audio on iTunes down in the corner. We go on the air Monday on the Big 550 KTRS at 10 o'clock in the morning. If you can't listen or you're not available at that time, you don't get AM, we are encouraging everybody to download on your smartphone the application called TuneIn Radio. It's $1.99. You get 40,000 radio stations from around the world. You can record 2 hours at a time, and you can get us on KTRS. You can create your own podcasts, whatever you want. Again, it's TuneIn Radio, and it's an app for $1.99. And don't forget, we also stream online at KTRS.com. Of course, if you haven't heard, our lineup is as follows. Smash will be in with us on the inaugural show on Monday. Eric Mink every Tuesday, every Wednesday from Channel 30 and Fox 2 back in the old days. Gina Curry will be on. Victoria Babu and Laura Marshall going to be joining us. And on Thursday, it's comedian Joe Marlotti, professional comedian. And on Friday, we're doing all sorts of music stuff with Smash, Diggin' the Smash. I told you that if you came back today, you'd get a scoop, and I would tell you who our first guest would be. I will go further than that. I'm going to tell you who our first guest is going to be on Monday, and I'm going to go further than that. Joe Buck joining us live from, presumably, the World Series on Monday in the 12 o'clock hour. Russ Mitchell from CBS News on Tuesday. That's all I'll give you for right now, but we got a lot of good stuff coming up, too. By the way, a lot, because I do so many interviews, one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, like, who was the most interesting person you ever talked to? And I think Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg are in there. I've interviewed both of them a couple of times. Who was the prettiest woman you ever interviewed? And I always surprise people because Dolly Parton, man, I'm telling you, I did her for Steel Magnolias back in the late 80s, and she didn't have all that stupid hair and makeup on. And she had just had whatever number it was in the long line of successive boob jobs that she had. But her skin just looked like milk. She was beautiful. Also, Tia Carrere from the Wayne's World movies. Man. But I think the number one answer there would be Yasmin Bleeth from Baywatch. Oh my good God. Was that woman just anyhow. Who was the most fun? Well, you get your Kim Basinger would definitely be in there. Robin Williams, without question. Richard Simmons was more fun than you would probably think. And also Dana Carvey was great. And people say, well, I'm leading up to something. There's a point to this discussion. People said, who would be your dream interview? You could interview anybody, who would it be? And I always tell them, well, there's two people, but it can't happen because they're both dead. One would be Johnny Carson, and the other one would be Curly Howard. Man, I mean, there's almost nothing on record in terms of interviews to find out what made this guy tick. What was this guy like? There's not really a lot out there about him, and I thought it would have been a fascinating interview. He died the year I was born. He died in 1952. But the reason I bring this up is because Johnny Carson, Curly Howard, that's my answer. I gave that answer in interviews for years when people would ask me about it, and I found out recently that they were both born on the same date. Johnny Carson in 1925, Curly Howard in 1903. That spooked me out a little bit. And as far as I'm concerned, this date, right here, today, is the most important date in world history, October 22nd. But in this case, we're talking early 1960s, because this is the date of really the final day of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And you have to understand that if you weren't around back then, I was 9 years old when this was going on, and it was the only time I ever saw a look of fear on my father's face. Back in 2000, by the way, they made a great movie. It's on my list of top 5 all-time favorite films. Kevin Costner, Bruce Greenwood as JFK. The guy who played Bobby Kennedy is absolutely amazing. The movie is called 13 Days, and it is an unbelievable depiction of those days. There's another one with Hal Holbrook called The Missiles of October, but this one, 13 Days. Man, I'm telling you, because every day that you are alive, you should drop to your knees and thank John Fitzgerald Kennedy for getting us out of that, because it was a mess. And if you had a clod like some of our most recent presidents in there trying to negotiate this, we all would have been blown up. And we were 15 minutes away from nuclear extinction. This date, 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. We're in 13 days. Thank me later. Speaking of politics, we will be rid of these commercials in 11 days, because that's when the midterm elections take place. How fun is this Mizzou thing? Man, people are going nuts. It also sounds like the weather is going to be atrocious. They're talking about not only rain, but the possibility of thunderstorms and maybe even severe weather in Columbia for Saturday night. I was at a restaurant the other night, and the server was having a conversation, because she was going out there not just for the game, but for all of the pregame activities. And she was going on and on and on, and then the tailgate, and then the parade, and then this, and then that. And I was just standing there. I was trying to get into the restaurant. But you know what? It's fun, so I'll let her go. John Danforth. Are you hearing about this? There's an article in Esquire where he's talking about this concept where he and a bunch of his colleagues, Democrat, Independent, Republicans, would all get in a hotel room and over the course of 3 days figure out a way to balance the budget. Okay? I think you got to be careful knowing the conduct of some of those congressmen and senators. You lock yourself in a hotel room with them for the weekend. I'm not sure what might happen. I don't know. I'd like to see John Danforth get into a hotel room for the weekend and try to balance Fox News or Clarence Thomas's goofy wife. Stephen Slater, that JetBlue flight attendant who said, that's it, I've had it, take this job and shove it, grabs a couple of beers, pops the door open, goes down the slide. He was in court a few days ago facing charges, trying to work out a plea deal, which he did. While that was going on, somebody broke into his house, stole his laptop, printer, and microwave oven, because we all know how valuable those are. Parents in Maryland can now rent a drug-sniffing dog to find out if their kids have a hidden stash. Cost you $200. A former member of Al-Qaeda recently quit and made a big stink about it. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, what would cause a terrorist to resign from the world's most fearful organization, Al-Qaeda? They want him to do a suicide bombing, and he just was like, I'm not ready to go yet. Did he have an attack of conscience? Was he afraid that too many innocent civilians might be injured or killed in his attack? No. This guy quit Al-Qaeda because they wouldn't pay for his pregnant wife's medical care. I guess the HR director at Al-Qaeda is pretty tough. Now there's going to be a big debate about Osama care. Those Glee photos in GQ, as a matter of fact, they're on eye candy from a couple of days ago, causing a firestorm. Now there's a rumor going around that there's pictures of Jane Lynch from Glee in the grocery store picking out cucumbers. We'll see. And you want to know what irony is? Irony is the Parents Television Council. These people sit around, watch TV, and look for things to get pissed off about. Charlie Sheen said boner. Write a letter. You know, that sort of stuff. Well, it turns out that on the board of the Parents Television Council, one Mr. Billy Ray Cyrus, whose daughter has been acting like a pig and a slut and an over-sexualized minor now. That's irony. Kim Kardashian, turning 30 this weekend. The record for the most expensive birthday cake in history is $1.65 million. It's like that line, Father of Bride. A cake, Franck, is made of flour and water. Well, get into the 90s. Anyhow, they're going to adorn this thing with jewels and everything like that. For $1.65 million, they could put the singer Jewel on the cake. Anyhow, they're going to try and break that record. It's nice to see money being well spent. Brett Favre's wife is out promoting her new book, but everyone just wants to talk about Brett Favre's penis. You know, he was sexting. He sent his picture of his thing to that reporter. You know. Favre still faces disciplinary action from the NFL. I don't know if I'm looking at the picture. Maybe they could just settle it in small claims court. Yesterday, speaking of sex, that pop singer Brandy, she said she hadn't had sex in 6 years. Today, Snooki says she hasn't had sex in 3 months. Meanwhile, Jenny McCarthy said that she once dated, and these are her words, a chubby, hairy guy who lived in a shed. Apparently, he just had blankets and everything. He was living like that character, Thomas Jane's character in the series Hung, like living in a tent. And then this is the funniest line from Jenny McCarthy. She said she was laying there with him in this shed with like no running water or electricity. She thought to herself, I'm kind of hot. Why am I doing this? You've heard me talk about Ed Martin before. This is the guy embroiled in the center of the controversy in the missing and deleted and illegally disposed of emails in the governor's office during the Matt Blunt administration. Ed Martin comes back here. He used to work in the Vatican. Comes back here running against Russ Carnahan. Now, I know Russ personally, and I have gotten to know about Ed Martin pretty much over the last 2 or 3 years, and he's scum, folks. Ed Martin is scum. And in the next few days, expect a story to surface that when Ed Martin worked in the Vatican, he went way out of his way and was very, very involved in the widespread cover-ups of priest pedophilia while he was working at the Vatican. Watch for that story any day now. By the way, my sources indicate that Mark McGuire will not be returning as hitting coach of your St. Louis Cardinals next season. All right, Bill Maher tonight, Rob Reiner, and Levi Johnston, Bristol Palin's baby daddy. On this date in 1938, Chester Carlson invented the copy machine. In 1938! And IBM, Kodak, RCA, they're like, it just makes copies? That's all? Nah, we're not interested. So Chester said, okay, I'm going to try and manufacture this thing myself. He made $100 million. Birthdays today, St. Louis's own Kevin Kline, 63. We dig that Phoebe Cates thing about you. She's 47, by the way, now, and still looks fabulous. Nice work, my friend, Kevin. And Carl, the intern middleman, is turning 40, but the birthday party isn't until next weekend, and you don't want to know. You don't want to know. All right, JC's Eye Candy. You know, everybody who's in the music world thinks that they got the best voice and that they, you know, are hot and they get the best idea for an album cover. You will find that that is not the case. Today we are showing you the funniest unintentionally sexual album covers of all time on JC's Eye Candy. It's right below. JC's Video Village, Harold Ramis from 1988 here in St. Louis. Wayback Machine, old TV commercial for Casey with the smash. And our old school photo is from the mid-1980s with comedian Henny Youngman. All right, that's it. Monday's the big day on KTRS, 5:50 a.m., 10 o'clock in the morning until 1. We will be back here with your daily dose on Monday morning. Before that, that's it for Friday, October 22nd, 2010, a cooperative venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. And in the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.